I was sitting in a leather chair in my father's lawyer's office when my brother laughed at me, not a polite laugh. A real one. The kind that says he thinks something is genuinely funny. My name is Sarah. I'm 34 years old. My father died 3 weeks ago, and I was the only one who held his hand when he took his last breath. My brother, Michael, had been too busy. My sister, Jessica, said hospitals made her uncomfortable. But I was there. For 6 days straight. Sleeping in a chair. Holding his hand. Telling him it was okay to let go. Now we were sitting in Richard Thornton's office for the reading of the will. Michael in his expensive suit. Jessica in her designer sunglasses, even though we were indoors. And me, in the same black dress I'd worn to the funeral. Richard cleared his throat. Let's begin. He opened the folder. To my son, Michael, I leave my estate in Greenwich, valued at approximately $2.3 million, along with my investment portfolio. Michael nodded, like he'd expected it. To my daughter, Jessica, I leave my shares in Hartwell Industries, currently valued at $1.8 million, and my property in the Hamptons. Jessica smiled and removed her sunglasses. Finally interested, Richard paused. Looked at me. And to my daughter, Sarah, I leaned forward. I leave my personal effects and the contents of my storage unit in Queens. Silence, then Michael laughed. A storage unit? Dad left you a storage unit? Jessica snorted. What's even in there? Old furniture? My face burned. I don't know. Probably junk, Michael said, grinning at Jessica. Dad always said Sarah was the sentimental one. Makes sense he'd leave her the garbage. Richard's expression was carefully neutral. Professional. I looked down at my hands and why father had left me nothing. After everything. After sitting with him while he died. After being the only one who showed up. Is that it? I asked quietly. There's a letter, Richard said, sliding an envelope across the desk. For you. He asked that you read it privately. Michael rolled his eyes. Great. A letter. That'll pay the bills. Jessica stood up. Well, this was quick. Richard, send me the paperwork. I have lunch at 1. They both walked out without looking at me. I sat there, holding the envelope, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. Richard waited until the door closed behind them. Sarah, he said gently. I'm sorry. I know this must be difficult. It's fine, I said, standing up. My legs felt shaky. Can I have the key to the storage unit? He handed me a small silver key. It's in Queens. The address is on this card. I took it. Looked at the envelope in my other hand. Your father was very specific about his wishes, Richard said. He knew what he was doing. Clearly, I said, my voice tight. He wanted to make sure everyone knew I wasn't worth anything. I don't think that's, thank you for your time. I walked out before he could say anything else. The hallway was empty. Michael and Jessica were already gone. Probably celebrating at some expensive restaurant. Talking about what they'd do with their millions. I sat in my car for 10 minutes before I could drive. Then I went home to my 1-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn and opened the letter. It was handwritten. Dad's messy scrawl, Sarah, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I imagine you're confused. Maybe hurt. Your brother and sister got the money, and you got a storage unit full of what they'd call junk. They would think that. They always thought I was just a businessman. Just money and investments in properties, but you know better. You're the only one who ever really knew me. Go to the storage unit. Alone. Don't tell Michael or Jessica, and remember, the most valuable things in life are never the ones you can put a price on. I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there when you needed me. But I'm trying to be there now. He read it 3 times. My hands were shaking. The most valuable things in life. What did that even mean? I looked at the key sitting on my kitchen counter. Small. Ordinary outside, the sun was setting. The city was loud. Car horns. Sirens. People shouting. I thought about calling Michael. Asking him what I should do, but I didn't. For the first time in my life, I didn't ask anyone for permission or advice. I grabbed my keys, grabbed my coat, and drove to Queens. The storage facility was in an industrial area. Gray buildings. Chain link fences. Security lights flickering in the dark. I found Unit 247 at the end of a long hallway. The key turned easily. I lifted the metal door, and I stopped breathing. The storage unit wasn't full of junk. It was full of art paintings. Dozens of them. Stacked carefully against the walls, wrapped in protective cloth. Sculptures on pedestals. Sketches in portfolios. I stepped inside slowly, my footsteps echoing. I recognized some of the paintings immediately. They were mine, from high school. From college. From the 2 years I spent trying to make it as an artist before I gave up and became a graphic designer to pay rent. There was the portrait I'd done of Dad when I was 17. The landscape from our trip to Vermont. The abstract piece I'd submitted to a gallery that rejected it. He'd kept them. All of them, but there was more. In the back of the unit, there were paintings I didn't recognize. Beautiful ones. Old frames. Museum-quality canvases. I pulled one forward carefully. Checked the signature. My hand froze. It was a minor Monet. A small one, maybe 12 by 16 inches. A water lily study. I pulled out another. A Degas sketch, another. A small Picasso from his blue period. My father had been collecting art. For years. Quietly, and he'd stored it here. In a unit under his name. With my paintings, there was a wooden box on a table in the corner. I opened it. Inside was a folder. Documents. Appraisals. Certificates of authenticity, and a note, in Dad's handwriting. Sarah, this collection is worth approximately $4.7 million. It's yours. All of it. Michael and Jessica will get their properties and stocks. They'll be comfortable. But they never understood beauty. They never understood what matters. You do. These paintings aren't just investments. They're pieces of human souls. Moments captured in time. Stories told in color and light. I bought them because they reminded me of you. Of the way you see the world. I know you stopped painting. I know you thought you failed. But you didn't fail, sweetheart. You just haven't finished your story yet. Sell these if you need to. Keep them if you want. Or donate them. Whatever brings you joy, but know this, you were always my greatest masterpiece. Love. Dottie sat down on the concrete floor and cried, not sad tears. Not angry tears, relief tears. He'd seen me. Really seen me, while Michael and Jessica were fighting for his attention, competing for his approval, demanding more and more. Dad had been here. Quietly building something beautiful. For me, I don't know how long I sat there. When I finally stood up, I took photos of everything. Documented every piece. Called Richard. Did you know? I asked when he answered. Yes, he said quietly. I helped him acquire some of the pieces. Why didn't you tell me? He wanted you to discover it yourself. He said you'd understand why. I looked around the storage unit. At the art. At my paintings hanging beside Masters. I do, I said. I locked up the unit and drove home. I didn't call Michael or Jessica, not yet. First, I needed to decide what to do, and I was going to enjoy watching their faces when they found out. For 2 weeks, I told no one. I went to work. Came home. Acted normal, Michael called once, asking if I'd cleaned out the storage unit yet. Not yet, I said. Well, hurry up. The facility charges monthly. Unless you want me to handle it? I could send someone to haul everything to the dump. No, I said quickly. I'll take care of it. Suit yourself. Don't know why you'd want Dad's old junk anyway. I almost told him right then. Almost said, that junk is worth more than your estate and Jessica's shares combined. But I didn't because I realized something, telling them would give them power. They'd fight me for it. Claim Dad wasn't in his right mind. Hire lawyers. Make it ugly, and I didn't want ugly, I wanted justice. So I stayed quiet. I researched. I contacted auction houses. I spoke to appraisers who confirmed what the documents said. $4.7 million. Minimum. Some pieces could go for more at the right auction. Also found something else in Dad's papers. A gallery. In Manhattan. Small. Prestigious. He'd been in contact with the owner, a woman named Vivian DuPont. There was an email, printed out, dated 6 months before he died. Vivian, I'm sending you photos of my daughter's work. I think she has real talent. She stopped painting years ago, but I believe she could start again. If anything happens to me, please reach out to her. Tell her what I couldn't. Robert. Vivian's response, Robert, your daughter's work is extraordinary. Raw, emotional, technically proficient. If she ever wants to show, I'd be honored to represent her. Please have her contact me. I stared at that email for an hour. Dad had been trying to restart my career. Behind the scenes. Quietly supporting me even when I'd given up on myself. I called Vivian the next day. Sarah Hartwell, she said when I introduced myself. I've been hoping you'd call. Your father spoke about you constantly. He did? He was so proud of you. Not for what you did for him at the end, though he mentioned that too. But for who you are. Your kindness. Your eye for beauty. She paused. He showed me your paintings. You're incredibly talented. My throat tightened. I haven't painted in years. Would you like to start again? I looked around my apartment. At the blank walls. The empty easel in the corner I'd been using as a clothes rack. Maybe, I said. I'd love to show your work. Whenever you're ready. We talked for an hour. About art. About Dad. About what comes next. When I hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt in a decade, hope.